our water treatment division, which we started to announce business late in 25. And we'll be adding to that commercial value significantly as we go through 2026. We've got a very strong pipeline. And in the coming weeks, we'll start announcing commercial wins in that side. And that side of our business will be growing nicely in 26. We'll add nicely to the air business and really build our revenue base.
Birchtech is a provider of environmental solutions for the clean air and clean water industries, using its proprietary activated carbon technologies. The company just listed on the NYSE American Exchange, raising $15 million, with CEO Rick MacPherson participating with a $750,000 investment himself. And he is here to discuss the uplisting and the investment and an update on business activities as well. I'm Martin Gagel with Market Radius Research. Please remember, this is neither recommendation nor investment advice. We're here to learn about the company. Rick, welcome and good to see you.
Yes, Martin, nice to be here. Thank you.
All right. Well, you've been busy. I got your listing on a big exchange finally done here in the US. Congratulations, raised some money. And obviously you seem pretty committed to this with writing a pretty substantial and sizable check yourself in this.
Yes, no, I think it's great for the company, for the shareholders, and for me as well. I think it's a great move for us at this time, going into 26, especially tied to the movement that we're making into the water business.
Well, it's always good to see the CEO putting his money where his mouth is as well. So that's good to see. So you've raised the $15 million. I guess, what are the use of proceeds and plans to do with the uplisting and now that additional $15 million that the firm has?
Well, at this point, we're debt-free. I expect to remain that way. The funds basically put in play a position for us to move forward on building out our rejuvenation centers that we have a strategy for. We very much expect, because of the design and the payback time, that they will be highly financeable. But we wanted to make sure we had 15 to 20% of the capex required to build the plants in place. And this $15 million does that. It puts the money in place for us to build out a half a dozen of these facilities that we have planned.
And just for maybe new viewers or new investors that aren't aware, the rejuvenation is you're taking the used activated carbon and freshening it up so it can be reused again and recycling it in essence. Did I get that right, or you want to explain that a bit further?
No, that's a good layman's approach. Basically, what we do is take the spent activated carbons from the water utilities, rejuvenate them, add in our customized SEA materials back with it, return it to the client with 100% efficacy, as if they had bought brand new granular activated carbons. And we do that for what's estimated to be about 50% of the cost of buying new. So an incredible option for them to maintain the lowest possible OPEX going forward, especially once the PFOS regulations come into play, which are happening, in the near future with a number of different states and eventually across the country once the federal regulations come into play.
Other big news so far this year is the win of your legal judgment that's been going on for a while here. So that was a solid win you made there. Can you give us an update on what happened and what's going on now?
Yeah, so the last part of 2025, we received the final judgment of $78 million from the court, from the federal court. We are now in the collections phase of that. The defendants have filed an appeal, which we expected. We feel very good about our position in dealing with the appeal due to the process that went on through discovery and the trial itself. And we also have a very strong position with regards to our collection position due to the way the judgment was handed down, which was both joint and several and willfulness in its nature of infringement. So that puts us in a very good spot to be able to collect these funds. And we very much expect to be doing that in 2026.
Does the collection get paused while they appeal, or do those kind of happen simultaneously? Or I guess what kind of updates or milestones in regards to the appeal and the collection should we be on the lookout for?
Sure. So nothing gets stayed. We actually are being paid or collecting interest on the damage amount of 78 million daily. So it will grow significantly as we go forward. There is really no appeal process beyond this one, which, as I stated, we expect to be successful in defending, other than a possible Supreme Court review, which we view as being highly unlikely. And so
Oh, okay.
as we go
Yeah.
forward, we will continue to move our collection efforts forward. It's not something really, Martin, that we can be discussing publicly as we go forward, but we certainly will be announcing our results once we get success in these activities.
Sorry, going back to the water business, like you raised the funds for the rejuvenation centers. What milestones on that water side of the business should we expect? When is construction and like I don't know how big these facilities are. How long does it take to build it out? Can you like give us some milestones or expectations on when
Sure.
your growing footprint, how you expect that to grow out?
Yeah, one of the key triggers for us will be the offtake agreements that we're now negotiating with water utilities themselves, which in essence is an agreement for them to use our facility once established. Once the offtake agreements are in place, we'll be announcing the construction, the timeline for operation, and those should be seen as our main progress points going forward. To answer your question, we're looking at about an 18-month build-out period.
Okay.
And so as we announce the offtake agreements and the permitting applications, then you can factor in when we expect to have the up and running. And we also, at that point, would get into the financial expectations of the facility, giving you size and processing volumes and values.
I'm going to take offline here for a sec. Should I ask you about the air business and say you're going to be coming out with that, or should we just skip that
Um,
and then
I would say,
Rick, on the water side of the business, are there any other angles or aspects to that business that we should be aware of or that you're working to build out?
yeah, in particular, the analytic side of our business, we built an amazing lab in North Dakota, and a product development lab and rejuvenation center in Pennsylvania. Both of those facilities are extremely busy now, working through engineering firms to bring solutions to water utilities for their PFOS regulations, and trying to help them build the best process possible. I actually think that they will become a profit center for us this year, as well as being the leading edge that brings us into the water market in a very short basis. Added to that is our water treatment division, which we started to announce business late in 25. And we'll be adding to that commercial value significantly as we go through 2026. We've got a very strong pipeline. And in the coming weeks, we'll start announcing commercial wins in that side. And that side of our business will be growing nicely in 26. We'll add nicely to the air business and really build our revenue base as we lead up to the opening of the rejuvenation centers.
You mentioned the air business. How is that coming along?
Come along nicely. I should mention that we still have an action in Iowa with 4 remaining defendants, and we expect to move forward in settling that away in the coming months. But we also have a number of different settlements that came through in 2025 that opens the door for us to be able to build that supply side nicely as their present supply contracts come to an end. So I very much expect that that side of our business will also grow nicely based on that supply side opportunity.
Rick, that's great. Thank you for the update. And did we miss anything or any final words you want to say before we wrap it up here?
The only thing I'd like to say is, thank you to the shareholders for sticking with us as we've gone through these significant changes. I mean, we had some big wins finally in the legal side of things in late 24 and then had them reaffirmed in 25. Now it's time for us to collect on them. And all the while we've been able to, maintain our operations and grow them into this exciting new water business. So we're hoping and looking forward to being able to bring some real enterprise value to the company now that we're on the New York Stock Exchange with increased liquidity so that all of the shareholders, including the management, can benefit from our growth.
All right. And with your $750,000 vote of confidence in the company, that's good to see. So thank you very much, Rick. Thanks for the update and talk to you again soon.
Yes, thank you, Martin. Bye-bye.